You know, I see an awful lot on the internet these days about men being weak-minded, men not knowing, not showing up, not doing the things that they need to be doing right. I do that. I call out a lot of that because I think sometimes we need that encouragement, whether it's tough love, whether it's softy, to just wake up a little bit. But there is not enough content on how do I show up at another level? How do I become strong-willed, strong-minded? How do I become more resilient? And that is always the question, right? And I made that mistake. I looked at it and was like, yeah, dude, we've got to start being a little bit more resilient here. Well, how do I be more resilient? It's like when we say to our kids, we've got to be a little bit more organized. Well, teach me how to be more organized. Like, how do I do that? How do I build that routine? Because let's face it, it's not taught in schools. It's not taught in colleges. We then leave the educational system and then we learn to fend for ourselves, right? In a world where, I mean, it's becoming even more chaotic than ever, right? Social media is out of hand. The world is out of hand. Everything's out of hand. So we need to learn the hows of how to be more resilient. So in this video, I want to talk about 4 different ways that we can build more resilient, how we can be stronger minded. But the thing that I will put here as a disclaimer is that if I tell you these things and you do nothing with them, then you are wasting your time. Then you are going to continue to have an average week mentality if that's what you've got right now, right? And it's not because I'm trying to criticize you. It's not because like I want to bully you or intimidate you. I want you to be better. Like everything I do in terms of the coaching and mentoring is because I want you to show up as a leader. I want you to be able to handle more of the stress in life, be able to take on more because you are a better leader, because you're more in control, because you are more disciplined, more resilient. It makes you a better leader. And guess what? When you become fortified in that way, the mental health and the emotional health becomes stronger. So you don't fall into dips of depression, dips of uncertainty, dips of anxiety. I want to make you stronger so you don't go down that road. Does that make sense? So I'm going to hopefully give you 4 tips that I've learned myself through going through hardship, through swimming in pity and depression and anxiety, and teach you some of the things that I've learned from myself and I've learned from working with thousands of guys now, or seeing thousands of guys come through our world. So number 1 is train hard, live easy. Now, this might seem a bit odd for a lot of people, but when I wake up at 4:15, I get in a cold tub within the first 5 minutes. I then go straight to yoga. I then go straight into a power hour of work. I then go straight into a walk with the dog or go training. And then I come back and I spend an hour with the family in the morning routine. Now, I'm not saying you have to get up at 4:15 in the morning. You could simply get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. But I always like to think that if we could do something in the first 5 minutes that we don't necessarily want to do, what we are slowly doing is hardening the mind. We are conditioning ourselves to do something that we don't necessarily want to do. We're doing something that maybe seem weird to other people, but we are slowly but surely in a 1% way building your mindset. So you might wake up and get in a cold tub. You might wake up and do, however old you are, that amount of press-ups or squats. You might wake up and walk straight out the door and go straight for a walk or a run. But doing something from the minute you wake up is you training yourself to harden yourself so that actually when hardship enters your life externally from your business or from the government or from your wife and kids or from friends, you're conditioning yourself to handle it better. You're building this layer around you. It's like this invisible layer or force field that is around you where all of the things that used to get through into you and affect you and disrupt you emotionally, mentally, and physically are now bouncing off you because you're building that hardship. I like to get up at 4:15 because I love the peace of the morning. I like to get in that cold tub because any anxiety or depression or worries or uncertainty that I have are washed away in seconds. And you can do the same. Train hard, live easy. And when you start doing all of those smaller things, then you introduce structure, which is number 2. Number 2 is about building structure around your life. Knowing when your morning routine is, knowing when you're going to be working on the growth parts of your business, the operational parts of your business, and then the building part of your business. So you're going through those 3 different sections. And then there is a barrier to when you just say, goodbye work, hello family. So we're building this structure, this framework to have barriers, to know what is expected of you, to build certainty. And when you do that, you slowly build this discipline system that brings hardship to your day. So you have these hard lines. This is my morning routine. This is my time with the family. This is when we get to work and build in the business. This is when we finish the business. This is when we go home and be happy at home and do the things that we want to do. You are hardlining yourself for discipline. You're bringing discipline into your world with timing, structure, systems, routines, and that brings about a much more fulfilling life. That stops all of the uncertainty and the chaos corrupting your mind. So number 3 is physically do something that challenges you. So you don't have to follow my examples, but I want to share with you what I do. I do jiu-jitsu 5 times a day. I have big 110 kilogram guys trying to squeeze my head off. I go running. I'm training for 100 miler next year. Hopefully my body will hold up. But I like to do things that challenge me physically. But in the process, it builds an identity of hardship. I have learned to drop my ego. I have learned to drop my anger. I have learned to drop my impulsiveness. And I've learned to be calm and composed through jiu-jitsu. Running allows me to just brain dump until my brain is empty and I'm clear of all of my overthinking. It hardens me. It makes me stronger when I can hear the rain. I love when I hear the rain coming in. I'm like, gonna get out and that, we're gonna still go training because it's hardening you. You're being challenged physically, mentally, and emotionally. You're doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do. So what you do slowly internally is build yourself up, right? And you're building this character, this identity where exercise is non-negotiable. You're doing it, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whether it's bright sunshine. And you build yourself over that time. And that helps you when you go into your business, into your life, so that when things are hard, you're harder. You're harder because you're doing all of these things. You're training, you're doing the work, you're up against all these guys at jiu-jitsu or running or the gym, or you're lifting the heavier weights, you're having a big, strong session. I always think 2 times a week, we should have these big, challenging sessions that push us on the cliff edge of our comfort zone, so we know what that feels like. So it brings me on to number 4. Your narrative, your mind. Stop thinking weak. Stop thinking pity. Yes, life is hard. Yes, it will creep in. We've got to learn to flick the switch quicker. That's all we're doing. That hardship, that initial, immediate reaction to hardship, to things happening in our business and our life. That is that initial reaction. And we're like, oh my God. Then we compose ourselves because we've done all of the other things that I've been sharing with you. And we go, right, wait a minute, let me reframe this. Let me reposition it. Let me look at this from another angle. Let me put perspective on it. Let me take the emotional side out of it and think more logically. That makes you calmer. That makes you a great leader. That makes you a thought leader as well. So you are leading from the front and people are looking to you and you're like calm and composed. And you're like, okay, this is the decision that we're going to make. And over the time, and we do this for the guys that we work with, they are getting quicker at flicking the switch when something is not going the way they want it to. So hardship is always going to be there. You know, weak-mindedness is when we don't practice being strong-minded. We have weak bodies when we don't train them. So we make them harder by training them, right? It's the same with the mind. People go, calling me weak-minded. Who do you think you are? Right? Well, you are, because you're not training your mind. In order to be more resilient and build up the character and the identity of who you truly are, you have to do the work on it. You have to do the reps. You have to keep showing up. You have to put yourself through a little bit of self-hardship, right? And you have to keep doing that consistently for the rest of your life. The next 6 months, the majority of men will break and hide in their beds because it's going to be cold and wet. The men that really want to succeed in business, in life, in health are the ones that are going to be out there in the cold tub, running, gymming, jiu-jitsuing, constantly telling themselves how strong that they can be and reframing the way that they operate to build a mission that holds, doesn't break, doesn't crumble. So be that guy. And if you want help being that guy, in my description are 2 different ways you can do it. Number 1, you can message me on Instagram, the link's in the comments, and you can just comment the word ready or DM me the word ready and we'll have a chat. Or you can come and work with me for 7 days for free. If you are a business owner, I will work with you for one-to-one, give you 7 missions. And if you get to the end of that, then we'll have a look at whether you're a good fit to come and work with me in the Mission 365 system. But do not allow yourself to crumble under the pressure of life. Build this hardship mentality. So I want you to watch this follow-on video here, why successful men feel empty, because unless we have that hardship, we are going to fall into this guy in this video. Thanks for watching. See you on the other side.